Another week has gone by, and since not much happened in the crypto market last week, I want to take some time today to discuss Ripple with you. There has been extremely bullish news because after years of legal battles, the SEC has withdrawn its lawsuit against Ripple. This is certainly not new. News that I am giving you, it has already been spread around. But in today's video, we want to take a look at the chart and see what we can expect from Ripple in the near future. First, let's take a look at the overarching chart and focus on Ripple. Right now, it's in a sideways movement, which could either bring a new low for Ripple, but of course, it could also bring a new high. Compared to most other coins, XRP looks relatively bullish. We're assuming that since our bear market low, Ripple has completed a wave 1, a wave 2, and a wave 3, and that this is the area where the trend reversal should take place to its last upward movement. And as you can clearly see here, Ripple is only a tiny bit. Wick has entered the trend reversal area here and has already managed to free itself from the trend reversal area. And it could already be on its way up here in our last wave. Most other coins are somewhere in the lower part of this trend reversal area, where there is a significant risk that they could fall below it. And then upward momentum has been lost. And that means it will be difficult for the prices, or almost impossible to set a new high again. And Ripple is very, very far from that, what you can see quite well in this chart. And that's why I'm currently very bullish on Ripple, that we have a trend channel here, which is currently declining, except for this one breakout. I'll make this a bit bigger, where the price is currently continuing to fall. But on the other side, we have the same thing at the lower edge. Here, Ripple is also forming a trend channel where we are building higher highs. And that means we have a triangle here. And usually it's said that a triangle that is approached from below has a 2/3 probability of breaking out upwards, and quite impulsively. And as you can already see, there isn't much room left in the triangle. This means that there will be a relatively impulsive movement with Ripple soon. The advantage is that even if this triangle unexpectedly breaks downwards, Ripple has a lot of room to absorb that downward movement, so it can still start an upward movement from further down. And as I evaluate the chart here in a smaller time frame, let's take a look at that now. I hope I'm not overwhelming you with all the drawings that are in here, but we will now work through this properly together. What I want to say is the following. You can book analyses with me. That means if you want something like this with Ripple, for example, where the demand is relatively high, and you want regular updates like this, specifically 3 times a week on the smaller time frame where you can get a better idea of where things might be heading, then check out my Discord Patreon link, because there you have the option to book a lot of courses individually. And that's for just €5 a month. And it's also cancelable monthly, so you're always up to date. Feel free to check that out in the video description below. Yes, but back to the chart. We have built up wave 3 here on a larger scale. And presumably here, with this wick is wave 4. Right now, there are 2 possibilities for how the price could develop. Depending on whether it breaks out of the trend channel upwards or downwards, I can also quickly sketch this out again here. But I don't want to clutter the chart too much because otherwise it gets quite confusing. So as I said, we are currently in a downward trend channel, but on the other hand, we are also moving upwards in the other trend channel, and we really don't have much room left for the price to maneuver before it breaks out, either downwards or upwards. Now the following situation is presenting itself here. If we assume that the price breaks out downwards, then it would be the case that this is not actually wave 4 yet, but rather to where we are. Here, the ABC movement can also be interpreted as WXY, but it doesn't play a significant role here, because while the subwaves are a bit different, ultimately the movement remains the same. So it's a three-part movement, and we are breaking down again into this target area. Huh? We have room up to 112. Only then should one start to think that Ripple might actually be taking a bearish path. That would mean that Ripple would have to lose a good 50% of its value from now on. So as I said, there's a lot of room. The other possibility that we break out upwards, I have to say I don't like that one quite as much. Since this is not a clear impulse and we see here with Ripple, because normally we have always a five-part upward movement as a clear impulse. So a wave, eat 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, that is a clear impulse. There's also the possibility that a price only rises in 3 parts, which is what we have here with Ripple. I'm making this a bit bigger so you can see it better, because we only had an ABC wave upwards, so it's 3-part. And that means that all the other waves upwards must also be formed in 3 parts. And it would look like this. Since our wave 1 that we found here, we have an ABC to wave 2. We would have expanded, and now we are going back up in a wave A, B, and C to wave 3. Then there's another 3-part movement to 4, or also a trend channel. That can certainly happen in wave 4, and then the last rise into wave 5 would also have to look 3-part. That's possible, but it's just not a clear upward impulse. And it brings along various difficulties come with it, especially when calculating the chart, because we always have these B waves included here. And B waves don't have a fixed price target. So in a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there is always a trend reversal area that is clearly defined, which can also be further narrowed down as I've drawn it here. But it does exist. And that's why you can always predict quite well and say, okay, if the price falls below a certain support level, this upward impulse is invalid. But with a wave B, it's not like that. A wave B can indeed be very, very short, but a wave B can also be very long, and sometimes even shoot above the last low or below the last high. That's why when we go up into wave A here, we first know, okay, we've taken out 1 or 2 lows here. I would like to touch on that briefly as well, but this wave B can also just run up to here for all I care, but it can also go further down here and creates a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market about whether there will be a sell-off after all, and then the price turns after all. Or maybe not, but everyone is relying on it. That's why I don't really like the structure. But you just have to take it as it is. Now we just have to wait and see. I assume that XRP could make a small rise here before we definitely see a sell-off. Because either we completely sell off here into wave C, into the yellow count, that means we will establish a new low. Or we sell not so far down into wave B, where the price target, as mentioned, is not predictable, to then take the next rise into wave C to complete wave 3. The only way to determine, for example, is to look at the next upward movement and see whether it is wave B that is moving downwards and whether we are continuing to rise. Or whether the next downward movement will bring with it a deeper low. That's basically something you can recognizing early on in the wave movements, because a wave B is formed in 3 parts in an A, B, C downwards and A wave. Wave C is formed in 5 parts in waves 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can recognize early on if we dip down again and set a new low, meaning going below 1.79. Or is it just a temporary correction? The mine hold brings us further higher prices. Because when strictly speaking, this wave B could also mean a wave A, B, C. We're moving down here, that's possible, and then we rise afterwards. So I can only recommend to you, if you're interested, to keep in mind that we are in the final phase of the bull run, where you can make a lot of mistakes, because there might not be another high or recovery if the price does sell off. Maybe consider booking such an analysis. These are also available for many other coins. Think about it, because I don't think €5 a month will break the bank for you, but it could bring you significant advantages. I went to McDonald's today, the first time this year on my motorcycle. I had a McFlurry with my partner, and that cost €6. So that means for less than 2, you can book such an analysis like a McFlurry. Just take a look at the bottom. If you haven't invested in XRP yet, I definitely recommend it. The exchange CoinEx. This is the partner I collaborate with, where I also carry out and build many of my trades and my hotel positions. The advantage is that this exchange might not be very well known to many yet. It's been on the market for 7 years, but it's more active in the Asian region. And the exchange now wants to establish itself in the European market. That means you have an exchange that has been around almost as long as Binance. CoinEx has the advantage that many small coins are listed there. New coins are coming almost every day to trade and deal with, and that at very moderate and affordable prices. If you're interested in having a second or third exchange, especially one that isn't regulated by the EU, that means you could trade relatively anonymously if you want to, in case of an emergency. All you need is an email address and a password. So definitely check that out in the video description below. And anyone who uses this link will get the first $10 in transaction fees refunded for the first transactions they make. I hope today's video had some exciting information for you. If that's the case, feel free to leave a thumbs up on the video and drop me a short comment, or maybe just a little smiley. That would boost the algorithm and be good for the channel. And I want to point out that there's another exciting chart analysis waiting for you in the credits. I wish you all a great time until the next video, and bye.